Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Harsh Times. This movie is directed by David Ayer, and the film stars Christian Bale, Freddie Rodriguez, and Eva Longoria. Harsh Times is the story of a man named Jim, played by Christian Bale, who is a war vet. He was a soldier in Afghanistan who's come home to California to hang out with his buddy Mike, played by Freddie Rodriguez. But Jim is suffering from PTSD, and soon this starts to affect the friendship between him and Mike, but also starts to affect the relationship between Mike and his girlfriend Sylvia, played by Eva Longoria. I first saw this movie years ago, and even though I didn't appreciate Christian Bale at the time, this movie affected me. It was very powerful. So I wanted to rewatch it because it's been probably 5+ years since I've watched it, and it still affects me the same way. But now I appreciate it even more because I noticed the actors in this film, but I also understand now the trauma of PTSD. And I'm still blown away by Christian Bale. So let me start with the acting in this movie. Christian Bale, wow. Christian Bale, if you ask me who my top 5 favorite actors are, Christian Bale's going to be in that list because whether he's giving a performance in a great movie, like The Dark Knight, or a not-so-great movie like Reign of Fire, he always delivers. Yes, the material he has to work with and the writing isn't always the strongest, but he's always phenomenal. Ford vs. Ferrari, American Hustle, Vice. He's really good in everything that he does, and his portrayal of these different roles just shows you the kind of actor he is. You look at movies like this, and you look at The Fighter. You look at The Prestige, and you look at The Machinist. He has such a highlight reel of roles that it's really surprising that he hasn't won more Academy Awards. Christian Bale plays Jim as this guy that really cares about his friend. He enjoys his friendship. And when his PTSD kicks in and his behavior starts becoming frantic and unpredictable and he starts having these outbursts, he's just in a different zone. And I like the way David Ayer portrays this is because he changes the color palette. He makes Jim and his surroundings like this different saturation with like a yellow hue around him. So you know that Jim's not in his right mind. And let me tell you, there's a scene in the third act, actually there's a couple of them, where Jim's PTSD starts to become more frequent. Where he's been drinking and then the PTSD kicks in. And there's a couple moments involving a car where Jim is just in one mindset one moment, totally just doesn't care, totally in that soldier type mindset. But then there's a scene where afterwards where he realizes that he messed up and he feels really bad. He's just like, I'm sorry, man. I'm just faded, man. It's very, very powerful. Freddie Rodriguez is also really good in this movie. At first, it took a little bit to get into because you have Freddie and Jim, almost like these two, I don't want to say losers, but they just don't care about a whole lot except for getting drunk and getting stoned together. It takes a little bit to get into. One trademark, if you will, of David Ayer is that he likes to have his movies grounded in reality, and he likes them to take place in Southern California, and he likes to involve, the Hispanic community, but also have a lot of cursing in his movies. Look at this, Sabotage, Fury, End of Watch. They all seem realistic and gritty. And one thing I also appreciate about this movie is that he writes his characters like Antoine Fuqua does, but he just has a Hispanic twist on it. As the audience, you're going to watch this movie and you're going to follow the main character of Jim. But the movie focuses its attention on not just Jim, but Mike. It's like when I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for the first time. I was following McMurphy, the Jack Nicholson character. And it wasn't until somebody that I worked with said, if you read the book is told from Chief's perspective, the Native American that the movie also features. So if you rewatch it under those eyes, it changes your perspective and your appreciation of the movie. It's the same thing with this film. You're following Jim the first time you watch it, but actually, if you think about it, the movie's about Mike, his best friend. The movie's about Mike and his choices between his girlfriend and his best friend. And how his choice of following his friend who's out of control, it's affecting his life, his work life, his relationship with his girlfriend, and overall the kind of person that he chooses to be. And it's very fascinating. I also like this movie because you have all these actors and actresses, but they don't stand out. When you see J.K. Simmons, Terry Crews, and a couple others, you see them as characters in this real-world film, not celebrities that you're familiar with. So, because the acting in this movie is powerful, it depicts PTSD in such a way that I haven't seen done since Sniper or Brothers. This movie will leave you saying, wow. And because of that, I'm going to give Harsh Times an A-. It's hard to believe that Christian Bale did this movie the same year he did The Prestige and Batman Begins. So that's got to say something about his acting talent. So until next time, guys, see ya.